today? All right, good morning and welcome to the show, Citizen Business on Top Radio CitizenFM 93.7. This is the one and only business orientation show, the only show that educates you on how to invest, on how to start business, even with very lean capital. Today is going to be a really, really amazing day. There's a whole lot to learn. Of course, as usual, I have another big fish with me in the house today, and there's so much to learn. Personally, there's even so much I want to learn from today's episode of Citizen Business. So I'd like you to stay tuned. Get closer to your radio, get your pen and your pad down, get ready to jot so much information, and of course, get ready to ask questions as usual. Welcome back to the show. This is Citizen Business on Citizen FM 93.7. And this morning I have with me a wonderful guest. She is an expert in the line of exportation. She is into youth empowerment, international development, training and capacity building, and of course, organization leadership. I have with me this morning Titi. Put them down for so that we talk, then they can come in with their questions. So perhaps you want to tell us about Titi in 30 seconds.
So Titi wears many hats. That's where I'm several hats. Titi is a business development professional.
Yeah.
I've had many years under my belt with that, working with small and medium enterprises, ensuring that they sustainably, run their businesses sustainably, startups and growing businesses, basically. And in the last 5 years thereabout, I've been focused a whole lot on exporting, especially empowering SMEs, SME exporters.
Yeah.
Because really, there's a whole lot in that space. And SMEs, would I say they're disadvantaged? Well, maybe by the time we continue this conversation,
continue, right?
But I really see that we don't have much SMEs in that space.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
of course,
a Smeden study that came out, that must be last year. Only just about 7.6% of SMEs even contribute to export in Nigeria. So 7.6% is pretty small.
It's pretty small. So what are SMEs? Let's assume that there are people that do not even know they're listening. What are SMEs?
Mind us, we use that
Yeah.
But for my definition, I'll put the M now. MSMEs.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a micro, small, and medium enterprise.
Right. Because I've actually those are our targets, especially on this show, Citizen Business, because there are people that we just always want to create the impression that you can start small, right? Yeah, you can start small. Most of these sectors that people look at, a whole lot of people are misinformed. They just think you need to be a millionaire or a billionaire before you could get into some of these sectors. But that's the essence of Citizen Business. So, okay, go ahead, ma. You're saying.
So that's a good thing. I love what you're pursuing, really.
Thanks.
You're looking at that sector. Also, part of the things I do, I'm into leadership and public speaking. Perhaps some people know me in that space.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that. Just see me speaking in places. I'm very passionate about leadership. Oh my God.
And that's what we do at this point. There's a lot of void.
Yes.
A lot of young people who need to be trained and mentored in the aspect of leadership. Great.
Talking about young people, I have a mentorship program for young people anyway.
Yeah.
That was just recently launched on my foundation on my birthday in May.
Oh, wow.
So that's the youth mentorship program.
Wow. So you have your hands full. Of course, I know that because it took a whole lot of time for me to be able to pin you down and drag you here. All right. So if you're just tuning in, this is Citizen Business, and coincidentally, this guest of mine today happens to be the first lady that I'll be bringing on this show. Wow. So she is Titi Ojo. She's an expert. She's into capacity building, leadership training, and there's a whole lot for us to tap from her today on the show. Okay, so Titi, what does it entail to be an exporter from Nigeria?
A big question.
Growing up, I used to hear when I see some big Igbo men, with their big cars, and the man when he's introducing, say, I'm importer, exporter. So I'm like, how can I become an importer, exporter like this? So in Nigeria, what does it entail to be able to export things from Nigeria? Is it difficult? Is it expensive? I just want to know why many Nigerians are not in this.
So there's a lot to say about this. Let me start from building the fundamentals. That's the foundation.
Yeah, great.
Basically. So for export to happen, there must be a buyer.
Yeah.
And in this market, the buyer is king. So don't forget that.
Of course.
So I have quite a number of people that call me and tell me, this is I want to export. The next question I ask is, what do you have to export? Some of them don't even have anything. They just want to export. Export what?
Please, can I even export myself?
Under services export.
So that I will run away from Kem.
Physical persons.
Yeah.
Under the services export, we have the four modes of services export, and there's one that's called the presence of physical persons.
Okay.
That means you cross your border to another country.
Yeah.
And you're offering a service. You've exported your service.
You see?
So you could be you're an exportable item.
I thought I need to export myself from Kem.
Oh,
all right. So
back to export of products. I just went straight to export of services. But look at export of products, which is what most Nigerians and small businesses want to do. There must be a buyer.
Of course.
Now in export, first the buyer must want something from you. So how do you work backwards to produce that thing? Now most of the things we sell around here or we produce are not exportable. And most times you just feel like just throwing the thing to someone over there. It doesn't work that way. So there's someone at the other end saying, okay, I need ginger, for example. He's looking for where to buy his ginger, and he's looking at Nigeria. So is he going to find someone that will produce that ginger, the right quality, the kind of quality he wants? Does that person have the kind of quantity he wants? He's saying, I want a container every month. Can you produce a container of ginger every month and send? Have you produced the kind of quality because it's been specified? Do you have that? Then he's talking about price. He's looking at, okay, who can supply this to me at the kind of price that I can pay for? I keep saying this also that for countries, let's say I'm in Romania and I'm looking at several countries where I can buy my ginger from. there'll be price comparisons because it's a business decision that I have to make. So if you have the quality that I need, you can supply me the quantity. What about the price? So if it's cheaper for me to buy this ginger in Ghana because they sell for me half of the price, I'll likely move to Ghana and not stick with you. They'll just tell you, I don't like Nigeria so much. It's the money I'm looking, is the bottom line now for my business.
Yeah, that's where pricing policy might need to come in place.
So 3 things are really critical in my own view. For you to get a buyer and a sustainable buyer will be your quality, the quality of what you're offering. The quantity in terms of volumes, because this guy wants to have a repeat purchase and also wants to have it when he needs it. Most of these guys are using some of these things as input into some other production in their country. So we're talking about repeat purchase. It means you can deliver each time he wants it. If he says I want a carton or a shipment and I want it every month, you need to make sure that shipment goes as at when it's very important, or else you'll be messing up his business too, if you do not do that. And then the price. And then when we're looking at those things, I keep saying the buyer is king. Because it's the buyer that tells you what they want. It's the buyer that tells you what they want. And for us in Nigeria, or some of the businesses I've seen, in our own minds, all we know is that we have a product to sell. That's all we want is just sell. But really, who wants our products? We need to ask that question. Who wants to buy it? And then, of course, the aspect of marketing is there as well. Where, yes, the buyer is where he is, but how do you find that buyer? is another question. So most of our small businesses need to start looking at where the buyers can be found.
Okay, can I slow you down a bit? Okay, so I want us to break it down. There are a couple of things you said that I had to pin down.
Right.
First, we need to know what we can export.
Right.
Then the second thing is there's a point you talked about, some of the things that we have are not exportable. So you might want to help me shed more light to citizens. What are those things available, those products, those commodities, now let me use the word commodities, available in Nigeria for exportation? And then what are those ones that are not exportable that we have, and why are they not exportable?
Okay, thanks for that question. In terms of export, there's nothing you cannot export. Let me also lay the foundation.
Right.
Because as long as it's requested or someone wants to buy it, then it's exportable.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing you cannot export. Trust me.
After all, you even said I can export myself.
There's
So
nothing you cannot export. But if you look at the Nigerian Customs Service website, they publish products that are not exportable from Nigeria.
Oh, really?
And I think the number one product, there are about 6 of them or 8. The last time I checked. But number one product there was maize. Right? So number one product on that website is maize. So I always implore Nigerians, if you just want to know what products are not, they're not permitted, just go to the Nigerian Customs Service website. It's there, but maize is number one anyway. I know I checked that. Timber is another one. I will talk about timber as non-exportable because, yes, if you're exporting timber, then you're cutting down your trees, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
So you also don't want to export anything that would degrade your own environment. No, it's unethical.
That would be detrimental.
Yes, so unethical business is not even encouraged. And most of the time, the buyers, those buying from you, from these countries, some of them are also particular about how you do ethical business. So it's unfair for them to request of you what they cannot do in their own side. No.
Right.
And that's why some certifications are even required to show that you're ethical in your business. So let's look at that. So timber is one of that.
Okay.
Then artifacts are also there.
Right. Yeah.
Artifacts are there. Then animals, yes. Endangered species. Like lizards could be endangered actually. Some animals are like
animals
lizards,
that you don't want to go into extinction, correct?
Yes, lions, crocodiles.
Yeah.
It's also that I should not export them.
Oh, okay.
Then there is, I think there's something on metals also. There are about 6 of them, but at least I've remembered about 4.
Certain metals you can
you can export. So it's there.
Right. So
Then
how about the ones that you can export?
Now, any agricultural produce can be exportable.
Oh,
any or every. Apart from maize, that is actually.
Why maize? I was going to ask.
Well, sometimes too, we try not to export some products because we don't even have enough yet.
Oh, yeah.
And then because of the use we put it to, maize is. People eat it in animal feed.
There's a lot here.
Yeah, so when you decide to now say, okay, be exporting, then what happens to us? There's a terrible deficit in that. So also the issue of production within country is also important. Because if you can ramp up your local production, so those that have concern about some of the agricultural produce we export will see that, okay, we have excess, so we can actually export it. So that's why some agricultural produce can be on that list.
Okay.
And of course, from time to time, policies change. So that's why I said you can always keep looking at those websites. Maize could be off it at some point. Another product could just be on that.
Sometimes
list.
I think the central bank also determines what
yes.
Right,
so that's another policy.
Great.
So if you're looking at what is exportable, every agricultural produce is exportable.
Okay.
I know we have some top products in Nigeria or commodities that we export. Ginger is like there's sesame,
soybeans.
Soybeans, cocoa. There's why would this get off my head right now? But we have quite a number of things that we can like 13 agricultural commodities that we export from Nigeria, and they're consistently going out of our country from time to time. Then, of course, we can also talk about processed. So we're talking about agro-produce, but processed now. So we're talking about food products that are packaged and processed, processed and packaged. That's the and of course it also builds on us to become a bit more creative about how we do food processing around here. That makes it attractive to somebody else somewhere to buy from you. That's even where research comes in sometimes, really. Then for the packaged and processed foods, usually those goes into supermarkets and stores in the countries they're going into. And I see the opportunities for Nigerians, really, because a lot of Nigerians are now in diaspora and they want to keep eating their food.
I'm telling you.
So
anytime I have the opportunity to travel, if you see the way I pack things, I won't pack clothes. Is those things that we eat here. I remember I went to East Africa. I toured East Africa 2020, and in Kampala in Uganda,
right,
I saw some of these products. I won't even be calling their names in their top supermarkets. Many Nigerian products,
right?
Like you see crayfish, they'll package crayfish, they'll package poundo yam, they'll package kuli kuli and all those things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm proud, man. This is Nigerian. All right, so
really that makes it even easier now for Nigerians to enter those markets because the people are there.
Yeah,
and some are quite lucky. Like I have one of my clients, her sister just relocated to maybe the UK or some country in the
Europe.
EU, I guess. So she just sent her a list of all sort of food items. Like, man, get this up here,
I'm telling you.
And she's like, we need consistently. For her, I think her sister is even thinking of starting a business there. So starting in like a Nigerian shop. So right now she's already making those contacts with us, with her sister. How can you bring this in from time to time? So I think the opportunities are increasing.
Okay.
Because Nigerians are now almost everywhere, and in some places they are massively entering some new terrains that you've not heard. Nigerians are moving to Australia too. So countries in the Balkans too. Those countries. I have one of, because I train export readiness anyway, and I have one of my faculty, Maximilian, is from Bahrain also. Okay, Bahrain. And he had talked about this once in our sessions, that usually we're stuck with the usual suspects, the usual things we send. Can we start looking at new markets? Can you guys start looking at this side? All right. All of you are going to America, you're going to UK.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot this morning. This is Citizen Business on Top Radio Citizen FM 93.7 with Dr. D Money, and I've been talking to a wonderful guest this morning, Titi Ojo, who is a very, very key person in the aspect of exportation and of course capacity building, MSME consulting, and we've been talking about exportation. Okay, Titi, let me quickly ask this question that has been on my mind, and I know it's been on the mind of many Nigerians. So one of the biggest fears of a number of citizens with regards to venturing into exportation is financing.
Okay.
Financing the process of export, and then as well as sourcing for buyers. So is there a way around this? How do we get finance to? So even if I have, maybe where I'm coming from, we have a lot of cashew nuts. I know that there are some countries that buy cashew nuts, Nigerian cashew nuts. So I have where I can source them, but I might not have, because you talk about quantity. Now I might not have money to fill up maybe tons and tons, and then. Even if I able to collect these things, from these rural areas, how do I get locate a buyer?
In fact, collecting will cost you money.
Yes.
So I always say that financing is not the place to start. Seriously, I really think that's not the place to start. Although it will matter at some point. Yeah. As a business advisor, I would always say that value is what attracts finance. Actually, so, and that's the bridge that most of our small businesses are finding difficult to cross. So, what value are you creating? First of all, is very key. Then, of course, the quality of your product is key. But let's look at financing in the real sense of it. Right. We've always encouraged joint, where you have joint export, it becomes easier for you to raise funds for that. I know one of my clients just recently wanted some funding actually from one of our DFIs. Okay. And the first thing they told him is, we cannot give you the money, unfortunately, but we want to see that you have done a trial export first. So we want to see that there's a market that is ready. We want to be sure that your product is market ready, basically, and then there are people buying it. And at that point, we can begin to finance you. Okay. So the banks, whether DFIs or commercial banks, they're particular about things like that. They want to be sure that you have a product and you have a market. Okay. So the issue of financing, in fact, should start with being able to get someone as a buyer, and there's a commitment to buying your product. So you can actually now get someone to finance it, to kind of pre-finance some of the things you're going to do, so that when it's done, of course, you know that they're recouping their money back. So there needs to be that assurance somewhere. Okay. Nobody just throws money at you for the sake of throwing money at you. And what is it that makes that financing easier? Might be that maybe there's a commitment from a buyer. Okay. So part of the things we encourage as well is entering into export contracts with those that want to buy from you. Okay. So you have secured a buyer already. And in that export contract, we can see, okay, what's the cost of that whole transaction? How is it going to pay you? You know, those things are all stated well in your contract. You could take that to the bank, actually.
Yes, I know.
And they could confirm that.
But the question is, how do I now get a buyer?
Now the buyer part. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you for mentioning that. Now, there are different ways to get a buyer, okay? One would be, you could search online. Now, I think I did a session recently on getting buyers online. I think I did a 3-hour session. Okay. And part of the places I had referred those that were in that room to were websites that connect buyers and sellers. There's a Global Buyers Online website, for example, where you could get buyers. But of course, I also gave them a clause on don't just believe everything clear and sinker that I get online. You need to also have your own due diligence anyway. And then you're not just jumping right at it. Think of the risk that could be involved in that whole transaction, and make sure the kind of conversations you're having with that person covers your risks somehow. You're not sending your money to that person. It's that person's bank that's paying your bank. If that's you're doing LC or whatever, your payment method and all that. Credit. So you need to also make sure that you're covered in any transaction. But that's a website, for example, and it's very rich. Honestly, it's very rich because there are people that want to buy and they're saying, okay, we're from India, we're looking for, and they'll tell you what they're looking for, the quality, it's there, and there's a contact.
Could you give us one of these websites?
So one of the websites is the Global Buyers Online. Anyway, it's a massive site actually, and here, if you're a member, you have to subscribe. Yeah, it's subscription based, and while you're subscribing, you are putting in what products you also have. So your own profile shows what you have to sell. Yeah. So when there are requests coming in and it aligns to yours, they'll always send you the notification that okay, 50 people today requested for this, so you want to check them out. Yeah. So that's a very subscription-based website.
So I think the starting point is getting a buyer, because getting a buyer will help you to know what commodities, materials to source for. Yes. And then, of course, when you have a buyer and you have the materials, of course, you'll be able to use that as a line to get credit from banks and all that. Right. Okay.
And let me also mention that. You know, as a small business, I keep saying the part of research, do your background checks. So sometimes we are checking even all these sites. It just helps you understand what people are looking for. Do you understand?
Exactly.
So I say, I remember I used that same site in a training in Port Harcourt. And one lady saw some things that are being requested. I said, really, people are looking for this kind of things.
Are you serious?
In fact, it was just weird to us. I said, yeah, people buy all sorts of things in international markets. So don't just think it's your usual granite, what you're used to. People buy all sorts of things. That's the truth. So she was just really caught unawares with that.
Okay, sorry, Titi, let me open the phone lines now for people. I know people have questions, people have things to say. So the phone lines this morning is 0818 22 22 205, 0818 22 22 205. You can also reach us on WhatsApp with same number, 0818 22 22 205. If you're just tuning in, this is Citizen Business on CitizenFM 93.7.
Dangote, see the fame on you. No level.
It's Kelpie vibes.
If Dangote is still looking for money, who is Dr. D-Money that won't still be looking for money? And the essence of this show is because we are all still looking for money. Even if Dangote can still be looking for money, then all of us should keep looking for money. Dangote is the richest man in Africa now. So is he even still supposed to be looking for money? All right, so welcome back to the show, Citizen Business on Citizen FM 93.7.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Sorry, let me just answer the radio.
Yes, please. Go kind of far from your radio. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah. Good morning to you guys, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I learned in this export of business, the Export Promotion Council, they used to train people on it before you start any business at all, so to get you acquitted of some of do's and don'ts in the export business. So I don't know, is it when you start before you go on the training, you have to train first before you learn how you have a certificate before you have that. So how can you throw more light on that?
All right, thank you.
So this is, first of all, it's important to have a training. So I was just talking to D-Money on export readiness. It's important to have a training, first of all. You also don't just want to jump into a market you don't understand, because there's also a whole lot of risks in exports. Trust me. A lot of people have had their fingers burnt because it's not local market at all. So the dynamics have changed the moment you want to go into another market that is outside your own country. So that training is key. It's preparation. It's called export readiness. They're helping you to get export ready. But of course, in Nigeria, as an exporter, you need to have an export license or an export certificate, and that is issued by NEPC. That's the Nigeria Export Promotion Council.
Yeah.
You need to have that, because if you start up exporting officially, you need to upload even that certificate on TRIMS, the CBN and portal, where they can actually capture your export out of the country. So the NEP certificate becomes very, very important. It's only what they call that people portmanteau exporters that were saying they don't need certificate, but you need to have a certificate anyway, as long as you want to be an exporter in Nigeria. And it's very easy to get that. Just go on NEPC website, you see export license or so. There's a certificate, and you get it in less than 48 hours.
Yes.
In fact, somebody did it and got it less than 24
and
hours.
it's very, very cheap.
It's cheap.
It's not as expensive as people think.
Not at all.
Right. So talking about export readiness,
right?
What do you mean by export readiness?
Okay, so many people want to go into export, but are they export ready? Export ready will mean, first, the product I have, is it exportable? I talked about that earlier. Exportable will mean quality, will mean packaging, because packaging is also very critical when it comes to export. Now, quality would mean shelf life, that's part of it. Acceptance by the markets that you were even intended to send it to.
Yeah.
So that's the readiness part.
Okay.
Because you can't just business as usual like you do here, your regular package chin, and you think that is ready for export. It doesn't work like that. Even in small pouches you're putting it, you might not be able to move it from where you were to where it's going to. So that's a part of readiness. In terms of in what form is my product acceptable in the market that it's going to. Once you understand that part, you begin to work towards making sure that that product is ready. And I've seen some products in ShopRite, for example. I picked them up, I said this product is export ready in terms of packaging, in terms of quality and everything. In fact, packaging is everything. Packages are under, so not that.
Okay. Let me quickly quote you because I also have one very, very burning question, but I'm sure people at home would want to ask more questions. So the lines to call once again is 0818 22 22 205 0818 22 22 205. You can also reach us on 090 32 22 97 97 090 32 22 97 97. All right, so but to reach us on WhatsApp and or even call us, you can use 0818 22 22 205. All right, so Titi, I want, the question I have now is, for example, kilishi. We eat kilishi a lot here. We love kilishi here, and then maybe I want to export kilishi. Do I need? I know here, if I want to package, I need NAFDAC number and all those things. But for the countries that I'm exporting to, do I also need their own certification?
Okay, so some countries, they're very heavy on regulations, very heavy. Like they'll tell you any product that enters here must have
I know the US is one of them.
Yeah, FDA and all that. So you need to get your FDA certification.
Okay, so I'll also get their own certification.
Yeah, if it is required, then you must.
Okay.
So it's about if it's required.
How do I know if it's required?
That's part of your research on the country where you want to go to.
Right.
Beautiful. And then there's there are different products. So some products may require kind of certification, some might not. But you need
Especially
to,
maybe consumables and all that. Yeah.
so it's important to understand. It's part of the export readiness.
Export readiness.
So for your export readiness, you need to know the regulations of the countries you're looking at. What is it that is acceptable in these places? So you need to understand that immediately. Right now, even some of the ingredients in your packaged foods might not be acceptable in some places. So you need to do your research on these things. It's part of export readiness, and that's why we always engage small businesses or startups. Attend a training, an export readiness class. It just helps you to understand how everything works, really, how the export market works.
No, it's even ideal before you go into any business. You should even have some level of information.
Oh yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Good morning. Hello.
I am calling from Old Katampe.
Sorry, I didn't get your name. Hello. Hello. Okay. So.
Right.
Yeah. So
Just
yeah, I was going to ask. So maybe we can run through it again.
right.
Hello. Yes. If I want to go into exportation,
Right.
what are the things I need? For the first time, like kind of itemize.
Right.
Number one, what do I need to have? Like you've talked about certification
Right.
from the NEPC. What are the certain basic things I need to have before I go into exportation?
So far. Okay.
All right, so the numbers to call once again is 0818 22 22 205, 0818 22 22 205.
So what you need is a ready product. Honestly,
First.
it's a ready product. You can even you can get your license from any PC after that, but you must have a ready product. That's very important. Then you must have an idea of how the export market works. I've talked to you about, you must. And then of course there are market entry strategies. So let me really talk about market entry strategies. Yes. So some would enter a new market through agents. So there are those that in those countries, all they do is they buy from us. They know how they repackage their thing and resell at the other end. So for some of us might go through agents. But bottom line is that your product has left Nigeria and has gone there. For some of us, it might just be directly selling to stores. So it depends on how you enter that market, really.
Right.
And of course, it's about who is, either I'm directly relating to the buyer, or I have an agent or a distributor I'm working through. And even now we have Nigerians in those places to say, I want to be a distributor of your product. So they're talking to some of our customers here already.
Correct.
But of course, they're also particular about how they package their product. Some will say, send this to me in bags. I'm going to rebag it when it gets there. So some actually rebag your product. Some reprocess. So it depends on how you're entering those markets.
So it's not like there's a one size.
No, it's not a one size fits all.
Right.
So that helps you to also see how. Okay, so for example, let's talk about shea butter. Okay, so if you're sending if a company wants grade A shea butter and you're directly relating to them, it's a different ball game.
Right.
If a company says, you know what, we're using your share for something else, is a food where I want to process it further, you probably don't have to send a grade A shea butter to them, really, because they'll process it again. So the conversations that would hold when you're having this contract with the people that want to buy from you will determine how far you can go. Some of them will tell you we want it to be certified. So some buy our agro commodities from Global Gap certified farms. So if that is a requirement from a buyer or a company in the US, for example, then you need to get certification for that farm.
Okay, Titi,
because that's what they want.
Titi, thank you.
So there's a whole lot that comes together in this.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you a question about the AFCFTA.
Okay.
Because it's very, very key. But there's this question I wanted to ask. There was a time Nigerians, we have yam in Nigeria. We have yam in very, very large quantities. There was a time we really wanted to go into exportation of yam, but that didn't pull through. Was there a reason for that?
So the yam export thing was quite unfortunate, but there's so many factors. I'm not even sure we can even exhaust it on this radio, but there's so many factors that make export work. There's so many factors. Don't forget that you are moving the product from your country to another country. So what happens in between? We need to also care about that.
Right.
That's the logistics. And that's how, if you want to move anything, you need to think of your logistics. Am I sending it through the airway? Am I sending it through a flight that it has to arrive there tomorrow morning? Basically, because maybe that product, the shelf life is not that much and then it's perishable. You won't send that on a ship, for crying out loud. The shipment may not arrive in 3 months. So if you put food products on a shipment, they won't arrive there in another 3 months. And in between, you don't even know what might happen. I've had products like that. At the end of the day, it gets to In fact, there was a shipment that didn't arrive destination till like 7 months, actually.
Whoa.
Because in between was a transshipment, and there was something that happened in the country that was transshipped around. The thing was grounded there for some months. So logistics also becomes important. I talked about packaging.
Yeah.
Packaging is too important for us
What
to
has
know.
packaging got to do with our yam now?
There's a whole lot. I don't know how that yam was packaged. And of course it was on a shipment. I don't know when that thing arrived. We don't know how. Maybe it was even what do we call that? What do I want to say now? Like in terms of preserving the yam itself, so that it arrives where it's going, and it's preserved till it gets there. So there's so many in betweens we need to worry about. We need to worry about it. Of course, there are risks. These are some of the risks. There's transport risks.
Oh yeah,
in export. Yeah, anything could happen. And so usually we tell exporters, get your insurance as well. Sometimes the buyer pays for the insurance because that product is important to him. From when the shipment moves, from Nigeria, a buyer already covers anything that could have happened in terms of risk and all that, so insurance. But then as the seller too, from here, you might also have to cover your products, insure it from when it leaves your warehouse or your facility to when it gets to the ship, isn't it? So there's all of that. There are all the in-betweens that if you don't care about the in-betweens, that's where we might even get messed up.
Problem, because
it leaves your place very nicely, but it arrives where it's going to in bad shape.
So all right, so if you're just tuning in, this is Citizen Business on Citizen FM 93.7. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a
Wavex Pleasure Ride. Here at last, join the safest, classiest, and cheapest taxi ride in town. Wavex Taxi Ride for absolute safety and comfort. Available in over 500 cities in Nigeria, Africa, Europe, and America. Download the app now from the Google Store.
Back. If you're just joining us, this is Citizen Business on Citizen FM 93.7. I've been talking with Titi Ojo and we've been talking about investment opportunities in the export sector. There's something we all need to know. When we all go into exportation, we boost the naira, we boost the economy of our country. And so that's why this Citizen Business is coming up with this episode for us to have a mindset of going into exportation instead of importation. Too much of importation kills the naira. Am I correct, Titi? It kills the naira. So if we want to boost our naira, we need to consider going into export. I remember I was having a conversation with some people and we're talking about so many things that Nigerians do not know. Do you know that our animals, especially our cattle, their skins could be used to produce seat belts for cars? Do you know that these palm kernels we have, and we have them in large quantities in the east. Do you know that these palm kernels, you can use them to produce brake pads? And so there's so much that we need to know that we can do. There's so much Nigerians can export. So a question was coming up in my mind. In this station, Citizen FM, we like to go break things down to the basics. So someone sent me a question and said, can I go into exportation with 10,000 naira? So I want you to answer that question.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
What does the person want to do with 10,000 naira? I've thought about it, actually.
Okay.
I would always suggest this, that as small businesses, grow your business first. Grow your business first. When we talk about export readiness, there's a reason why we say so. Because if suddenly now you get a request, are you able to service that request? Can you take care of the quality issues? 10,000 naira, in my view, and you want to start export, I don't know what you want to use, really. So what is the best one? Sell granules in bottles.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, let me.
But the thing is this.
Yeah.
You know, in Nigeria, we keep saying start small, and grow. So for export, I would say that anybody that wants to go into export must have actually grown their business to a certain level.
To a point.
Seriously, because the export market is not the local market where we play. You need to grow your business to a certain level where you can now say, in terms of quality,
because
I am
you need
ready.
to meet certain requirements.
Yes, in terms of quality, I'm ready. In terms of volume and quantity, in terms of repeat purchase, I am ready. I am ready. Many of our SMEs want to start export straight off. Okay. Focus on growing your business first.
But what's the minimum minimum amount if I want to go into an exportation?
It depends
business?
on the request on your table. If someone says send me 2 cartons of a particular product, I'm sure 10,000 would not even do half of that carton.
Right.
So it's what, like I keep saying, the buyer is king. The buyer is king. But of course, they're different. In the export is a value chain of some sort as well. So while some of our small businesses, they just want to sell products, and really their products are not even there at all. They can also do other things. Okay? So for someone that's listening, for example, you might also be the market. You might be a linkage to someone abroad.
You might be a linkage. That's one thing.
I can be able to source those products for this person. And you're getting your own commissions.
Okay, so here now, buyer is, the buyer is key. So how do we get buyer? I've been asking.
Okay, yes. So when I talked about the online thing, there's also the way networking is important. So you see people get buyers by belonging to maybe some chamber of commerce as members, and they have programs from time to time. Sometimes they even get delegates from some countries and they have conversations. Some of us need to some of us need to attend conferences. You need to attend conferences. You want to be an exporter. Nigeria Export Promotion Council conference just ended, happened in April.
Yeah.
You want to be an exporter, you're not in those kind of places.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you're not ready. CBN had a conference yesterday or so in Lagos, and you're not there. There are trainings going online about markets. You're not applying. See, small businesses sometimes they complain that they don't have money to pay for training.
Exactly.
But you need to be in those places. Export readiness is key. Get yourself ready first of all.
You use money
and in
to
some
look for
cases,
money.
by being in those networks and just deliberately networking, just be deliberate about networking. Go for business networking events. Somebody will be talking about something you need. Honestly, it happens that way.
Right.
And then belong to groups that add value to you. So we have groups like export community groups. And most of the women I've trained, I have groups for them in different. And people reach out to me because they know, TT export. So they ask me, there's someone in Egypt that wants sesame, and I ask them what kind of sesame, what's the species, what's the type and all that. Yeah. And I throw it to these women anyway. I throw it to their groups.
And they source for it.
Yeah, is anyone here? And they're asking me questions. And the other day, somebody asked for a particular commodity, and because they attended export readiness trainings, which I do anyway, the way they asked questions about what that person wanted, you could see the difference. They say, okay, what type? The one we have is this. They were able to ask questions. Oh my God, I said these women, they've learned.
Right. So Titi,
they're getting it.
So I got your point. Networking is very key.
It's very key.
So we need to go all out. We need to network.
Yes, and belong to networks that opportunities will show up from time to time.
Okay, so before we wrap up, there's this question I've always wanted to ask about the AFCFTA. Okay. How has it been so far for Nigerian traders? What are the highs and lows? Because I remember when this AFCFTA was coming up, because we said, there's not much cross-border trading transactions, businesses within African countries. Most times when we talk exports, we're always talking about Europe and the Americas and the rest of them. So now AFCFTA has come up. How has it been so far?
Well, so far we're still at it. It's we're still at it because it goes beyond just saying AFCFTA. There's a whole lot of conversation still ongoing. Yeah. So, and right now, I don't think for Nigeria, it's really fully in effect. That's the truth. There's still so many things our exporters do.
Are these other African countries willing to buy our products? I remember Dangote was saying, even Republic of Benin here refused to buy cement, and then he has to transport it as far as other parts of the...
I think Africa has its own problems.
Oh, okay.
And when Nigeria shut its borders the other day, some people are just looking at us like Benin Republic, and they're taking back their pound of flesh from us, from the headaches we cost them. So we also need to be careful as well.
Some policies that we put in
because
place.
I was saying we're a block, isn't it? So each country also, we need to be careful about some of the things we do. Although yes, there have been meetings, of course, to say, okay, what products are prohibited from your own country into mine, what are exempted from my own list, all those exemptions. There's a whole lot of conversations going on. And that's where we are really, when we're saying, okay, when this fully takes effect, how does it work? Let the Nigerian SME understand how this would work, so that we can really tap into it. But as it is right now, we've not even scratched the surface when it comes to the CFTA. But there's still so much we need to take care of. There's still so much we need to take care of internally. How are we preparing our small businesses as well to take charge of this thing? So talk about payment systems. They just launched PAPS. We have not right now. I'm not sure if it's been tested to see how it works, but we need to understand that. I travel to West Africa a lot because of some Toastmasters events and all of that. And sometimes payment, just simple payment, is such an Herculean task. So these are things that we need to make sure that it's sorted out, so that trade becomes easy. Trade flows becomes really easy. And I think those are some of the things, the structures that we're currently trying to put in as we speak.
Unfortunately, I think we have to go. However, I just want to encourage Nigerians to look, of course, citizens, to look into exportation. We have learned a lot. It's no longer about the cost. It's no longer about money. We have to first of all go all out, do the research, look for buyers, and then source for this product. Of course, the money is no longer going to be the problem. The first thing is what value, what product, what commodity do you want to export? And we need to know that everybody's complaining about inflation, complaining about the crumbling economy, but we all have roles to play. We all have our part to play, and this is part of it. Exporting products from Nigeria. We have a lot of fine products in Nigeria. I'm one of them actually, that we can export to the international market, to the global market, to even make people proud of Nigeria. There are so many things we have here, we are enjoying here. There are so many countries that don't have food. We have so many varieties of food. We can package these things and export. So citizens, I want us to begin to look into this area of exportation, so that we can boost the economy, so that we can boost the Naira. This is Citizen Business on Citizen FM 93.7. My guest has been Titi Ojo. I want to thank you so much for coming, for giving us that opportunity, honoring our invitation. I want to thank my producers. Kem is one of them. She's been here just showing me things to say, what to do. I want to thank our callers. I want to thank our callers who has called in, those ones have sent messages. Philomena is also in the house. Thank you so much for being there. This is Citizen Business on Citizen FM 93.7, and we'll be back next week, same time next week, and there's a whole lot more for you to benefit from this program. Thank you very much. Citizen FM 93.7.
That good